Coming to you live from the White Picket Studios in Houston, Texas, this is the Realty Ruckus. If you are in any way, shape, or form involved in the real estate industry, this is the show for you. And now, your host, Alan Hernandez.
Good morning, Houston. Thank you so much for joining us today here at the Realty Ruckus in the White Picket Realty Studios. Don't forget, guys, that you can post all of your comments and questions down below if you're joining us live on YouTube and on Facebook. All of your comments are viewed right on the spot. David here can check them, and anything that we can address today here live while we're here talking to you guys, we're happy to do so. Again, thank you for having me again. It feels good to be the host again. I feel like, I took a day off last week. I know, right? I took a day off last week. I went out and went to a friend's wedding, which was phenomenal, man. I got a chance to catch up with some old friends. You don't get a chance to do that when you're my age too often. And it was good, but, I got a chance to watch your show, and I'm on my best behavior from now on because I see who my replacement is, and it's not pretty. But I do want to thank Curtis Warden. If you're out there, one of our biggest fans, thank you so much for coming in and hosting for us. That was a phenomenal show you guys put together, and it was very informative. I watched every bit of it, and if you noticed, I also tried to participate as much as I could while sitting in Florida. So let's talk about how awesome this weekend was, man. I mean, I was in Florida at a wedding, but everybody had their phones out and just staring at them instead of actually being at the wedding. And I know it was for one reason and one reason only, and that was college football.
Hell yeah.
Was this not a fantastic opening weekend? One of the best I've probably ever seen.
I want to say it was the best opening weekend of all time.
Yes. All of my favorite teams won, except for U of H, of course. I only say that because Brandon is a big U of H fan, and all he talks about is how much U of H is gonna do great things and supposedly going to beat Florida State University again, which will never happen in this lifetime.
It's already happened. It's already happened once in this lifetime.
Well, I said never happen again. But no, U of H did really great. They're actually set to probably be in the top 5.
No way.
No, you don't think so?
They'll crack the top 10, but they won't crack the top 5.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought they did pretty good. Of course, you guys.
I think they might, Alan.
You think so?
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate that. You guys did phenomenal. I mean, you guys as in Alabama went in there and just humiliated.
If there was anything better than number
team.
1, that's what Alabama would be.
whatever
what's
is
better
on top
than
of that?
Yeah, what's better than the best? Because that's what Alabama is this year.
And then, of course, you guys probably knew I was sweating bullets while watching the Florida State game last night.
That was an intense game. That was an intense game.
And then I saw you guys posting your little comments on our group me, and I wanted to just press the choke button.
The choke button?
I couldn't find it.
Oh, yeah. Interesting thing for this weekend is the whole state of Texas won their games. Basically, every school in Texas won their game.
Yeah.
Wow, that's interesting.
A&M did really great.
I thought Texas Tech lost.
No,
they won? Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Wow, that's
Very
interesting,
cool.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully you guys follow college football because obviously you guys can see that we do, and we're going to probably keep you updated on how our favorite teams are doing throughout the season. Luckily for you, I'm a big Florida State fan, so you're gonna know all about Florida State and how awesome it is. You probably didn't get a chance to watch the game last night, but if you did, you would have noticed that even though we were down for the first half by 22 points.
Yeah, 22 points.
By 22 points.
That was actually the biggest comeback by Florida State ever.
Really?
Yeah, that was their biggest comeback of all time.
Man, that was pretty phenomenal. We were down by 22 points, come in on the second half, and win it by, 10 points?
11.
45 to 30-something, 35?
Yeah, you guys took it to 11. It was good.
How awesome was that?
It was a really exciting game to watch. It wasn't quite as exciting as the University of Texas game.
I heard about
that
this game. I didn't get a chance to watch
crazy.
it. Really?
All right, so how often do you see an extra point get blocked and get taken back for points by the defense?
Rarely.
I don't think I've ever seen it.
The Auburn game with you guys.
No,
that was in a regular time. This was an extra point that was blocked, like an extra point kick.
Gets blocked and get taken all the way back?
Yeah, for 2 points, and that's what tied the game up between Notre Dame and Texas. Notre Dame was down by 2. They were about to be down by 3, but they blocked it, take it back, and that's what ties the game, takes it to overtime. Wow. It was a pretty phenomenal game. Yeah, it was crazy.
Man, I got to watch this.
Yeah, hopefully I got to go back and so
hopefully I can catch the replay or something.
Well, what's sweet for me is, the Southern California fans were really cocky. So it felt really good.
Yeah, they
beating
were.
Them that
they
hard.
really were, man.
I saw some trash talking happening.
They were talking a lot of trash.
We were at the game. We were at Dallas Stadium.
That's
or whatever
right. You guys
it's
went
called.
over there.
And man, I gotta say, USC fans are mighty aggressive.
Really?
Yeah, they're the most aggressive fans we've ever run into, man.
And my wife gets on me for being aggressive.
Worse than Miami fans?
Worse, man. It was like every single one was looking for a fight. Every group of like 4 dudes had that one like short, skinny guy that loves to talk trash.
Yeah.
And his friends have to like hold him back.
Yeah. But that guy always starts a fight, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, guys, we got to take a quick break. But when we come back, we got to go over what the market is doing. We're going to do a quick little market report for you guys, give you guys an idea on some of the changes that are happening here. You guys definitely want to stay tuned, and we'll be right back.
Hey realtors, I have a challenge for you. Walk into your broker's office and ask him to show you how to do a net listing, a wholesale investment transaction, or a subject to. I'm Alan Hernandez, broker of White Picket Realty, and my team and I have been doing these type of transactions for years. We can show you how to do the same and turn small deals into big checks. If you're interested in learning more, please contact join at teamwpr.com, JOIN at teamwpr.com.
Stop searching and start staying in the know with our Houston Real Estate Events page on Facebook. Follow us by searching at Houston Real Estate Events to stay up to date on the latest events for real estate in the Houston area. If you are interested in having your event on our page, please email me at david@whitepickettrealty.com. Again, that's david@whitepickettrealty.com. Non-paid events only. One more time, find us on Facebook at Houston Real Estate Events, and we'll see y'all at the next one. Hey Houston investors, do you have a couple deals under your belt, but now you're looking to scale in a more structured way? If so, then the House Flipping Network provides guidance to those looking to grow their real estate business. It's also a great way to mastermind with our experts and groups of like-minded investors just like yourself. If you're interested in more information, reach out to me, david@houseflippingnetwork.com. That's david@houseflippingnetwork.com. Hey everyone, this is David over at White Picket Realty, and I wanted to tell you about my friends over at Plans Express who can save you the headache of running your own permits. These guys are committed to offering a one-stop solution for all your plan and permit needs. They're proudly serving their friends and neighbors in the Houston surrounding areas, and they offer great service at an exceptional value. With dedicated professionals ready to serve, contact them today at 832-675-6217.
And we are back on the Realty Ruckus. David, how's the weather look out there this week?
Well, guys, it's starting to finally cool off heading into fall. We got highs in the low 90s throughout the week with a high of 92 today. Low of 76 tonight, and it's going to be about the same throughout the rest of the week. And picking up on Thursday, we might see some more rain coming through.
Oh, no more rain.
I know, right?
I know, just like I was chasing away the heat. Now I want to chase away the rain.
It's rained so much recently.
Well, and you know, when you do a lot of construction, this rain is the most brutal thing.
It delays everything.
Absolutely. I mean, it slows down everything.
It
so
fills
it's really
all of your
bad.
ditches, and then your clients want you to empty them out. I'm just saying that because I have a client right now who literally asks me every time it rains to please send someone to drain the ditch. And I'm like, lady, do you realize that it's not that easy to just go there and drain the ditch? I mean, how
it's pretty
crazy
difficult.
Is that,
I mean, even if you do it with a pump, that water's going to go somewhere, you know?
Yeah, you're going to drain it to the neighbors, and then it's going to overflow into your ditch anyway.
Exactly. Like, the ditches all run concurrent.
I swear,
There's
man.
nothing you can do about it.
Some clients in real estate just drive me crazy, but you know, that's part of the fun for me. That's part of like what keeps everything interesting. You get a chance to deal with some craziness, some new craziness every day. I haven't even told you guys about the house that I'm buying, where it's a crazy lady. She's really literally is like possibly, you know, demented of some sort of dementia, and has decided to use the entire house as her personal restroom and
man, that's gross.
draw things on the sheetrock with her own feces.
Oh man, that makes me sick to my stomach. Just
And I'll be
thinking
closing
about
on that house in 6 days, by the way. So if you guys want to see a really shitty house, you guys are welcome to come out and look at it. Anyways, I want to talk to you guys about what's happening in the market. So we just got the numbers, and we're comparing numbers from this July. I know I'm saying July. We haven't received the August ones yet, so we're going to go over July's numbers compared to 2015's numbers, all right? And there are some alarming statistics here that I think you guys out there, realtors, loan officers, investors, everyone that's out there in this business should be fully aware of. Now, keep in mind, these numbers are for local real estate, Houston real estate, okay? And so all this information comes from HAR. You guys can go on HAR, look it all up, and you can see what I'm talking about. And I'd be more than happy to even explain some of these further to you. But here's the thing about these numbers. If you look at total property sales, July 2015 to July 2016, we went from 9,300 and change down to 8,500. All right.
It's a big difference.
It's a pretty big difference. You look at that, you're looking at about an 8.5% difference.
This is year over year,
year
right?
over year,
Yeah.
declining in total property sales. All right. Dollar volume did the same thing. So we took about a 9% hit in dollar volume. So we not necessarily paid a little less, but spent a little less, right? And total active listings. Again, here's something that I thought was alarming. Total active listings went from 33,000 to 38,000.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
a lot of active listings.
So it went up 12.7%. All right?
Wow.
And so that's the one thing that I'm looking at when I see these numbers. I'm looking at what are the active listings and how does that relate to months of inventory. So if active listings went up 12.7%, all right, that means my supply has increased substantially. But what about my demand, right?
Yeah.
What does that mean about my demand? Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how many active listings there are as long as there's demand for it,
Plenty of demand, yeah,
right?
absolutely.
But if supply goes up, I feel like I'm like in a like economics class from college. You guys remember taking that class?
Yeah, I majored in economics.
The most horrible, the most horrible, boring classes you could take.
Oh, no way, man. Economics was so much fun.
Get out of here.
I'm not kidding.
You can
enjoyed
defend
it.
your bachelor's degree all you want, but it was a horribly boring class.
I loved it.
Demand and supply and the little X's and all that. That
Yeah.
was the worst.
That's all you remember.
The little X's.
He said, what? An X autograph, I'm out of
Oh,
here.
whatever. I'm out of here. Somehow I passed though, and so no. Look, let me tell you guys that the months of inventory is where you really start seeing what the demand for that supply really is.
Yeah.
And here's where I saw the most alarming number. And I hope I'm not scaring you guys from going out there and getting into real estate or telling your people.
Because we already gave him the apocalypse last week.
I
or
feel
so.
like last week we gave you guys the apocalypse. This week we're giving you guys these scary numbers. But this is not stuff we're making up. This is not just things we're pulling out of thin air. These are actual statistics. These are real numbers, and it doesn't matter if you're just getting started in real estate or have been investing in real estate for a long time. You have to know these numbers, and these numbers have to mean something to you, and you have to base your decisions
Strategy,
and your
yeah.
strategy on what's actually happening out there. Here's where I saw the most alarming number. The months of inventory, all right, check this out. We went from 3.5% last year, which was considered moderate.
3.5 months of inventory.
3.5
Yeah.
months of inventory. That's considered moderately high compared to where we were the year previous to that, which was right around 2.7, 2.8.
Yeah,
all right?
I remember, what was it? The lowest it went to was like 2.2 or 2.3.
Yeah, we
And that
saw
was
some
like the
low
all-time-
twos.
Yeah, it
We
was
saw
like the
some low
all-time
twos.
low.
And that was a phenomenal time for real estate investors.
I mean, those were times when you could basically list anything,
That's right.
have multiple offers in one day, and have it sold cash within 5 days. But those were the golden days.
And so we wonder why that's not happening as much anymore. You still get some of that stuff. I mean, I still see it with some of our listings, but it's not happening as often,
Yeah.
right? So we go from 3.5 months of inventory to 4 months of inventory.
It's a big,
Okay,
big
I
jump.
know that I'm talking about 3.5 and 4, and most people out there are like, okay, whatever, it's 3.5 to 4. You have to understand that the difference there is about a 17.2% increase. okay?
In inventory.
In inventory.
Yeah.
Now, if you really start looking at it, you realize that's the actual biggest bump yet in inventory since 2012.
Oh, wow. So it's been
Okay.
4 years since we've seen something like
In
this.
2012, we saw inventory at 4.1 months, right? And that's when everybody was freaking out and everybody was worried and this and that. And if you remember that in that market, we had what people considered a buyer's market. So in my opinion, I think we're getting ready to push that, push to that point where
Yeah,
it's
now
become.
officially a buyer's market is not until you exceed 6 months in inventory.
That's right.
But in Houston, we've been so spoiled for the last 5 years, 6 years, that we forgot what a buyer's market even looks like.
That's right.
So anytime it starts to shift into a buyer's market, we start to go into panic mode.
Yeah.
Because, we're still far beyond what's considered an actual buyer's market.
We're far from that, but if you really start looking into certain subdivisions, you'll see that some of those subdivisions already have that.
Yeah.
One of the houses that we're getting ready to list has 34 active listings within a quarter-mile radius.
That's crazy.
And 2 pendings.
No, that's
Okay?
horrible.
That shows you where the active listings are going and where the demand is going.
Yeah.
Right? So when we get back, we're going to talk about what happens when you buy a house without the strategy. You want to flip the house. You have a client that wants to flip a house, but they have no strategy. And we're going to talk about how crazy that is and give you some tips on how you can overcome that when we come back.
Hey realtors, I have a challenge for you. Walk into your broker's office and ask him to show you how to do a net listing, a wholesale investment transaction, or a subject to. I'm Alan Hernandez, broker of White Picket Realty, and my team and I have been doing these type of transactions for years. We can show you how to do the same and turn small deals into big checks. If you're interested in learning more, please contact join at teamwpr.com. JOIN at teamwpr.com.
Stop searching and start staying in the know with our Houston Real Estate Events page on Facebook. Follow us by searching at Houston Real Estate Events to stay up to date on the latest events for real estate in the Houston area. If you are interested in having your event on our page, please email me at david@whitepickettrealty.com. Again, that's david@whitepickettrealty.com. Non-paid events only. One more time, find us on Facebook at Houston Real Estate Events, and we'll see y'all at the next one. Hey Houston investors, do you have a couple deals under your belt, but now you're looking to scale in a more structured way? If so, then the House Flipping Network provides guidance to those looking to grow their real estate business. It's also a great way to mastermind with our experts and groups of like-minded investors just like yourself. If you're interested in more information, reach out to me, david@houseflippingnetwork.com. That's david@houseflippingnetwork.com. Hey everyone, this is David over at White Picket Realty, and I wanted to tell you about my friends over at Plans Express who can save you the headache of running your own permits. These guys are committed to offering a one-stop solution for all your plan and permit needs. They're proudly serving their friends and neighbors in the Houston surrounding areas, and they offer great service and an exceptional value. With dedicated professionals ready to serve, contact them today at 832-675-6217.
And we are back on the Ruckus, and we're talking today about market updates, college football, and now we want to go into a horror story.
Yep.
So I want to get everyone ready since we're going to September, October. Let's start telling some horror stories here.
Well,
and this is one that has to deal with a rookie investor,
Yep.
or not rookie necessarily, but brand new, so just green as could be. And Alan, you've got that story. What does that look like?
Look, and I don't want to completely scare someone from going out there and getting into the investing world. If you are a potential investor, if you're a real estate agent that's helping a new investor, there are certain things you may want to know, that you may want to have under your belt, and that you may want to properly advise that client with, so that they don't make these kinds of mistakes. So here's what happens. I get a call approximately about 2 weeks ago, and it's a potential client, and they say, hey, I noticed that you sell a lot of investment properties, and I want to see if you can help me with mine. sounds great. Of course, I go out there and I meet with him at the property. He's already at this point closed on it. We walk the house. It's a house in Meyerland. Now, keep in mind, Meyerland is a very, very tough neighborhood to buy in right now.
Well, especially with the flooding.
Mainly because of the flooding. The area is tainted, for the time being. It's not going to always be that way. That's going to disappear, right, eventually. And and the city is now working on fixing some of the flooding issues in the area already. So if you give that area approximately 1 to 2 years, you're not going to have that issue anymore.
Yeah, that stigma should be pretty much
That
lifted
stigma
by
is
then.
going to go away eventually, right? Here's the problem, though. This buyer decides to go out and buy a house. The house is a mid-century modern house.
Okay, so
Okay.
very, very specific architectural style.
It's a very specific style, and you can't go into a mid-century modern house and just paint it and drop granite in it. It's a different type of style, and you wanna cater to that style, and you wanna make sure that when someone looks at that house, they're looking for that style, and that the interior of the house feels like the exterior of the house, right? So we walk into the house, we walk it. It's not in horrible shape, but I noticed that their expectations for repairs are less than half of what it actually will be, right? So BB, it's a 2,200 square foot house, and they're expecting to remodel kitchen, baths, floors, and of course all the cosmetics, right? Even
Yeah.
open up 2 or 3 walls, and they have a $40,000 budget.
Yeah.
So immediately, that's a red flag up in the air.
Yeah, I mean, you're looking at $20 a square foot.
Yeah,
We know that on average, a blowout remodel is going to run you at least $65 a square foot in that area.
that's right.
So that already tells me there's a $45 a square foot gap.
Yeah.
In that budget.
Yeah.
So that's a big problem already.
Yeah.
But let's say that they do go on the low end side of it, and they don't spend quite. It's not a full blowout. They do a semi blowout.
Yeah.
You're still looking to spend about $40 to $45 a square foot on that remodel.
Well, and so a couple of things that I realized, and I don't get a chance to deal with brand new rookie investors as much anymore. Now a lot of the clients that I deal with have been doing this for a little while, and have already gone through some of this. So it was kind of like a refresher course for me, right? It was one of those deals where I was like, oh yeah, I remember. One, these are some of the things that I went through, and two, these are some of the things that everyone else that's getting into the business goes through, and makes these major mistakes. So a couple of things that I noticed that were really going to hurt them was their expectation of budgets, and a lot of that came from hiring these one-man contractors. These guys that it's literally them and an assistant, and they're going to quote unquote do the entire job.
Oh yeah, and they do it all. They're swinging the hammer.
They are swinging the hammer.
So just so you understand, and this is for all of our listeners out there, there's 2 types of general contractors. You have one, what's called a working contractor. A working contractor is going to be the guy who comes out, quotes the job, does all the measurements, and then you actually see him there working.
That's what he
So
does.
he's the one putting up sheetrock, swinging the hammer, doing the tile. That is a working contractor.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, there's going to be they're going to charge less. There's going to be a less margin of markup
Yeah.
because he's doing a lot of the work himself.
right.
There's no cost for a project manager.
That's right.
Your other type of contractor is going to be a non-working contractor. They're going to be a supervision contractor,
Right.
who comes in, brings in all the crews, takes care of all the budgeting, the scheduling, but they're not out there swinging the hammer.
That's right.
Now, rarely you may see them going out there and helping, especially towards the end when things get really difficult, but you won't see them putting up sheetrock, you won't see them installing tile, and you won't see them painting or anything like that.
That's right.
So those are your 2 types of contractors, and most people tend to call the one-man show, which is a working contractor.
And the thing about it is that's not a bad guy to hire.
For a
When you're-
small job.
When you're rehabbing, a house in a lower end neighborhood, you need to save some money, and it's a $5,000 to $10,000 project. You just need someone
Yeah.
to go and paint, maybe slap some countertops, keep it simple.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Maybe change out a little tile, maybe replace flooring with some vinyl, something like that. Simple stuff.
Yeah.
But when we start talking about opening up walls, here's where it got kind of hairy for me. They start talking about opening up walls. Well, BB, what happens when you open up a wall in Houston? What do you
Oh,
have to do?
I mean, anytime you open up a wall, and I'm sure Curtis is out there, he does a lot of construction. I know he'll agree with me on this. You're going to have to update everything.
That's right.
Everything to the latest
what
code.
but what does that mean? Like, what does it actually mean?
So here's what the city looks at. They want to come in and make sure that if you open up a wall, you now meet, one, the structural requirements.
Right.
So let's say that house was originally framed with 2x4 studs.
Yeah.
And the city determines that it actually needed 2x6 studs. You may have to change all of those out.
Yeah.
Another thing you're looking at is electrical. So if the electrical doesn't meet today's standards, you're going to have to rip it all out and put in all new electrical.
Right.
That goes the same for your AC. So if your ducts don't meet the new energy requirements, you're going to have to take those out and put in new ducts. So it's a snowball effect.
It's a snowball effect.
I always tell people, because they always say, "Oh man, I heard that like taking out a wall is really expensive." I said, "No,
not.
taking out a wall is cheap.
Yeah.
It's the rest of the things that snowball into that
Yeah.
that make it expensive, because you have to also look at things like your insulation.
Yeah.
A lot of houses in Ireland and Westbury don't have good insulation or
Some
or
of them
any
don't
insulation.
have any insulation at all.
Yeah, we've seen that before. But
Yeah.
as soon as you open up that wall, you're now responsible for bringing that up to the most modern codes, the ones that the
Most
city's
recent
on.
code.
Which right now the city just adopted the 2015, so they're catching up there.
Yeah.
They
And
haven't-
they're pretty strict now.
Oh, they're getting very, very strict. There was a time when you could get away with a lot,
Yeah.
and that was right around when the red light cameras existed, and we lost the red light cameras.
And then they said, now we got to make some money from these guys.
Exactly. It really did feel that way, because
Yeah.
as soon as they canceled those red light cameras, they started red tagging every single project that didn't have a permit.
Yeah. So as I'm walking through the house with them, I asked them, well, what else are you expecting to accomplish with this $40,000 budget that you have? And two things that they brought up were other red flags. They wanted to demo the kitchen and redo it. They reorganize everything from scratch, so new cabinets, new everything.
Yeah.
And demo both baths, extending one bathroom into a closet, right? So I'm thinking, well, first of all, do you have an idea on what this kitchen is going to look like?
Yeah.
Or are you gonna just let your contractor handle it? Oh, no. He's gonna handle it all. He knows how to design kitchens. And I'm thinking, this is gonna be a disaster.
Yeah.
You know, and if your contractor is the kind of contractor that tells you, I'm going to design your kitchen, unless he actually brings a professional kitchen designer or a guy to actually draw it up and hand over the plans to the carpenter, you're in trouble, because that guy is just going to go out there and buy a bunch of random cabinets from Home Depot or maybe one of these other shops and off of Harwin or whatever.
Yep.
And just slap
Start
them on,
sticking them up wherever they'll
on
fit.
the wall as they fit. If they
Yep.
fit right, great. If you open up two doors and they bump into each other, well, who cares? That's just the way it is.
Yeah,
And sometimes
yeah.
you see those kind of construction errors in houses,
All the time.
and you can get away with that stuff when you're in a lower end project. When you're in a lower end neighborhood, if the house itself is worth $100,000 or less, and you open up the cabinets and they bump you to each other, or the stove is at the corner and doesn't have cabinets next to each other at all, so you can't put anything next to the stove. Who cares? Sometimes in that price range that doesn't even matter. But we're talking about a $400,000 house, $420 to be perfectly right. And
just to be clear, if you're the contractor or the investor, not the contractor, you should care about that, whether it's a low end or a high end.
absolutely.
Now, what Alan's saying is that you can get away with it on a low end because the buyer may not care.
That's right.
But if you care about the product that you're supplying, you should always avoid those kind of things.
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. And because the product that you put out there as an investor follows you.
Oh, yeah.
Follows
That's your
you.
brand.
It follows you like a brand. That's absolutely right. And BB, when you and I started investing in real estate, we didn't know that.
No,
We didn't know that
no.
that was going to happen. We just said, look, we just want to do things right. We don't want people to come chasing after us or complaints, or we didn't want to have houses, sit forever and not sell. So we just decided just to do things right from the beginning. But how many people have come to us throughout the years because they saw one of our projects before and they loved it,
And they're actually waiting for the next one
or
to
they're
come out.
waiting for the next one
Yeah.
to come out and just waiting to submit their offer.
Yeah.
That has continuously happened with us, and even though it's something that we didn't know was going to happen, we can tell you that was one of the better decisions that we made. So now they're walking through the kitchen. They're telling me about how they're going to let the contractor design that.
Yeah, that's
We
scary.
walk into the bathroom, and I say, okay, who's going to pick your fixtures and who's going to pick your tile? Oh, well, he's going to do that. I'm like, man.
He gets a really good discount at Home Depot.
Actually, that's what they told me. He's got some suppliers.
I had no idea that's what they were
He's
saying.
got
That
some
was just a
suppliers
guess.
that give him a better discount on the tile, or or something about him having a warehouse where he's got extra tile from other projects.
Yeah.
And he's going to bring us a couple samples, and we'll get a chance to pick from those two. And I'm thinking, first of all, you have a mid-century modern house. You have to cater all of your design
around that.
around the fact that it's a mid-century modern house.
Yeah.
You have to make sure that the buyer that comes in here is pleased with your choices, your finishing choices, because they're not a first-time home buyer.
And guys, for those of you who don't know what a mid-century modern is, just go on Google and Google it. Mid-century modern, it'll pop up. It's that really cool style that looks kind of vintage, but modern at the same
Yeah.
time. It's hard to do.
It's one of the most difficult rehabs you can do.
Yeah, you're not going to achieve a good mid-century modern by buying stuff at Home Depot. I mean, you're just not going to. You're going to have to go to specialty lighting stores. You're going to have to go buy specialty plumbing fixtures.
That's right.
Because you've got to hit the look just right.
And if you really want to do this right, you need to use a construction designer. And
Yeah.
that's the one thing that sets our product apart from everything else. In fact, we're getting ready to list one of the coolest projects we've done to date over in the Maryland area, speaking of. And it's a mid-century modern house, which we've taken down completely to the studs, moved the kitchen from one side of the house to the opposite side of the house, extended it, opened walls, raised ceilings, you name it. This house has it all. So we're super excited to be able to bring that type of product to the market.
Yeah.
But can you imagine that when I took these clients to see this house, they're like, oh, so if we spend another 20 grand or so, we can do this, can't we? I'm like, no, you're so off, man.
Yeah.
So, unfortunately, I had to break the news to them and say, well, look, you have two choices. You have the choice of spending what it's going to take to make it look right,
Yeah.
right? Or go ahead and do what you need to do with your budget, but you're going to have to face the reality, and it's possibly not going to sell at the price that you're asking. It will eventually sell, maybe, as long as everything is functional and everything looks right and passes code and whatnot. Did I mention that they were planning on not pulling permits?
No. No.
Yes.
You left that part out.
Well, because when I was telling them about, the fact that they needed to redo the electrical and plumbing, if they remove the kitchen or if they tear the tile down or open up walls, you have to redo the electrical and plumbing inside the walls. That's part of
Yeah.
what Jabron was saying a while ago. So I'm like, well, how do you plan on getting around that? Oh, well, our contractor can just, do it without permits. He's just going to put the trash in the garage. And man, I'm telling you, I was baffled to hear that people are still trying to do this, actually getting a project of that size, that magnitude, done without permits. If you guys are out there doing that kind of stuff, stop. Because eventually, and you may get away with it once, I don't even know if you can anymore. You may
still get away with it once, but the repercussions of not doing it are so much worse, it just doesn't make sense.
Exactly. Anyway, we got to take a quick break. I hope you guys were able to catch some good insight on how not to approach your construction project. The best tip we can give you is to plan first, get the right contractor in place, and then begin your project. If you have any more questions, don't be afraid to put them down below. YouTube Live, Facebook Live, we'll be answering those when we get right back. We're going to take a quick break.
Hey realtors, I have a challenge for you. Walk into your broker's office and ask him to show you how to do a net listing, a wholesale investment transaction, or a subject to. I'm Alan Hernandez, broker of White Picket Realty, and my team and I have been doing these type of transactions for years. We can show you how to do the same and turn small deals into big checks. If you're interested in learning more, please contact join at teamwpr.com. JOIN at teamwpr.com.
Stop searching and start staying in the know with our Houston Real Estate Events page on Facebook. Follow us by searching at Houston Real Estate Events to stay up to date on the latest events for real estate in the Houston area. If you are interested in having your event on our page, please email me at david@whitepicketrealty.com. Again, that's david@whitepicketrealty.com. Non-paid events only. One more time, find us on Facebook at Houston Real Estate Events, and we'll see y'all at the next one. Hey Houston investors, do you have a couple deals under your belt but now you're looking to scale in a more structured way? If so, then the House Flipping Network provides guidance to those looking to grow their real estate business. It's also a great way to mastermind with our experts and groups of like-minded investors just like yourself. If you're interested in more information, reach out to me, David at houseflippingnetwork.com. That's David at houseflippingnetwork.com. Hey everyone, this is David over at White Picket Realty, and I wanted to tell you about my friends over at Plans Express who can save you the headache of running your own permits. These guys are committed to offering a one-stop solution for all your plan and permit needs. They're proudly serving their friends and neighbors in the Houston surrounding areas, and they offer great service at an exceptional value. With dedicated professionals ready to serve, contact them today at 832-675-6217.
And we are back on the Realty Ruckus, and we were going over some disaster projects and how investors make bad decisions sometimes that really cost them a lot of money.
Yeah.
I'm really surprised. I was actually stunned during the break to find out that they own that house already.
They own it.
So I thought,
Bought it with hard money.
wow,
And somebody out there
was willing to finance that.
Somebody out there was one willing to finance it, but two, the agency that brought it to them gave them the idea that those were good numbers, that was going to work for them.
So they got the house from a wholesale group out there.
They got it from
Okay.
a wholesale group out there, and of course, these guys are licensed, so unfortunately, these clients believe them in terms of what it was gonna
Chances
take.
are their appraisal value was overinflated. The repairs were underestimated.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was all of that. It
Yeah.
was all of that. And they thought they were getting into a deal at 70%, including repairs. And when I'm showing them the real numbers, they're
Closer to
like,
92%.
well, they're like at 85%.
Okay.
And so, they're a little bit scared. They're a little bit worried. And
With good reason,
For
but-
good reason.
What are some things they could have done and advice for the audience? So we went through just a real quick checklist, but let's go a little bit more in depth into what they should have done for it to be correct, for them not to be in that situation. I think number one would have been not to close on a project that you don't really have good numbers on.
Well, look, here's the thing. I close on projects sometimes sight unseen. I've
Yeah.
done that. The house out in U of H, we couldn't even get into it for a little while. And there's the one over here, the shitty house I told you guys about. I mean, I probably didn't even need to walk through it. I shouldn't have, because it got my shoes all dirty. And but I can tell you just from doing this for so many years what a house is going to require. And if you tell me nothing is salvageable except the roof and the four walls, I can tell you exactly what it's going to cost to rebuild it. I've just been doing it for a while. But if you're new into this business and you're going to close on a house, you may want to have your bids lined up prior to closing.
Yeah.
If you can't estimate a rehab, fine, I get it. It takes a lot of experience to be able to walk in and just say, this is what it's going to take. If you don't do that, if you can't do that, then you have to search for that information through third-party trusted vendors, and you have to have several opinions. It's kind of like when you go to the doctor and you get bad news. You don't just don't take the bad news. You got to go get at least 2 or 3 separate opinions.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean? And that's kind of the way this is. If somebody tells you, hey, I'm going to be able to get this job done for this ridiculously low price, that should be a red flag, first of all. It's not because they're giving you a special discount or some sort of deal.
Yeah.
It should be a red flag that they can get a job that big done without charging the proper amount. That means you're not going to get quality work, or they're going to try to run you under the table somehow, not pulling the permits, not fixing not correcting the plumbing or electrical, and at some point that's going to come back and bite you anyway.
Yeah.
You're going to have to do it no matter what, because the buyer's going to do their inspections and figure out that you didn't do things right, you didn't disclose things properly, and boom, now you're in for a lawsuit. Now you're in to potentially have to rebuild the house. You never know how
Yeah.
far that could go. So good word of advice is get your bids lined up before you even close on the property.
Yeah.
The other thing is, I would say that you would want to form some sort of relationship with experts in the industry. It doesn't have to be us. There's so many other experts out there that can help you, that do this full time, other realtors that also flip like we do. that can point you in the right direction and give you the right advice versus you going at this blindly. If you go at this blindly, the failure rate of doing this without the proper hand holding per se is upwards in the 87% range. That's failure rate.
Yeah.
Right. So chances are, if you go at this without somebody,
If you go at it alone without knowing anything,
without somebody helping you, you're going to possibly fail.
Yeah.
And that's
more than likely fail.
statistically been proven.
Yeah.
Right. And if you really think about it, baby, my first flip was a complete failure. It didn't turn into a success till years and years and years
yeah,
later.
I mean, any time that you don't get to hit the exit strategy that you want, it's kind of a failure.
Yeah.
Now, there's backups that you may be able to mitigate your risk and your losses on.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, yes, that was a failure.
Yeah.
So it's not uncommon to fail, especially without the right advice.
When I told this client that at best he was going to be able to walk away without losing any money, and at worst that he was going to lose a little bit, his jaw hit the floor. and here's the thing, I get about a 50% likability when I'm dealing with a client like this. 50% of these guys literally love me, and 50% of them hate me. And a lot of that comes from the fact that I'm sitting there in front of them and I'm having to tell them some cold, hard truths.
Yep.
And some of them don't want to hear it. So when I'm saying, hey, you kind of made a few mistakes in buying this. You make your money when you buy it, not when you sell it.
Yeah.
And because of that, now you're going to have to push through this thing because you got a loan on it. You put 50, 60 grand of your own money into the loan to make it work. You want to get that back.
Yeah, you don't have a choice but to make it out.
You don't want to lose the money, so you don't have a choice but to push through the entire project and make it out. But you got to do it right if you actually want it back. So you're going to potentially break even or lose money. In fact, the reality behind this is that the only people that are going to make money in this scenario
It's the lender.
is the lender and the realtors who are going to help you sell it.
Yeah.
Plain and simple. So
That
when
happens all the time.
So when I'm explaining this stuff, the guy, this guy is like, wow, what did I get myself into? And so I feel like there should be more resources for people like this, for new investors that are out there. And if you really think about it, there are investment groups out there, nonprofit groups, who can help you with this kind of stuff. If you reach out to clubs like the Wealth Club or the Rich Club, they have good information out there that can help you.
Yeah, and they have good speakers who come in, and sometimes it's just about listening. Even if the speaker is not giving you an actual class, just listening to experience sometimes helps, because just listening to the story of like you and me going and doing our own landscaping, that's informative. It's funny. Somebody else was telling me the other day that they were out doing landscaping.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, geez, why?
We made that mistake 10 years ago.
Have you
Don't
not
do
heard
it.
my story on that?
Yeah, you don't remember who it was?
Yeah, I remember who it was. I just don't want to say their name. They've been doing this for a long time, but they just enjoy doing that kind of stuff.
Here's the thing. When I see, and I know of a lot of realtors that are also flipping houses out there, but when I see some of them going out there and getting their own materials or even picking out their own finishes or doing any of the work themselves, and I don't care whether it's landscaping, painting, or whatever it is, if you're doing any of that yourself, you're doing it all wrong, because it's not about that. It's not about you getting your hands dirty.
That's
out
not
there.
where you make your money.
It's not about you going out there and creating a job for yourself. If you're investing in real estate, it's because you are leveraging your time and money. And when you get a chance to actually leverage both, and you can sit back in your chair and know that the project is being done, it's being done right, and you're eventually going to make some money. I didn't say a lot of money, just so you guys get a good understanding for that. I said when you eventually know you're going to make some money, then you're in a good position.
Yeah.
But you're not out there, sweating bullets over what tile to pick out or how the kitchen should be designed or what's going to look good or not good. You just know that it's going to look good and it's going to sell. And that's the correct way to do it versus you thinking that you're going to save a couple $100 by doing your own landscaping.
Yeah, well, and there is some people that are successful in going out and doing those things themselves, but it's because they enjoy that part of it and they see themselves doing that part. There's investors out there who really like going and picking all their own finishes. They consider themselves investors slash designer.
Yeah.
And that's okay if you
enjoy it.
If you enjoy it and you're actually good at it, because some people think
Yeah.
I'm investor slash designer, but then their design work is like, wait, you just picked like 4 pictures out of a magazine and tried to match that,
Yeah,
and it
and
doesn't
it
look
looks
that means
good.
other people think you're good at it. Just because you think you're good at it doesn't necessarily mean it's
Yeah,
true.
you need to make sure that you're actually good at it.
Yeah.
It's interesting though. Earlier you were saying it's really important to get your bids before, and I wanted to jump back on that because I was talking earlier about working contractors and the non-working contractors.
Right.
Make sure that when you're getting your bids, you at least get one of your bids from a non-working contractor.
I agree.
Because they're going to give you a good idea of what that project really costs.
Yep.
Working contractors oftentimes tend to underestimate a project,
Mm-hmm.
and then as you're going along, they kill you on change orders.
Yes.
It's like, oh wait, you needed me to take that screw out of the wall?
Yeah.
Oh, I only bid for the other screw. That screw there, that's $100 screw to take out.
The other big pitfall that we found, because I did ask the client to send me one of the bids.
Yeah.
The other big pitfall is that the contractors that they got bids from didn't actually tell them what they weren't going to do. They said all inclusive and then listed the things that were part of the all inclusive bid.
Yeah.
Right? But when you get an all inclusive bid and you don't get a list of the things that are not included, then you're in trouble, because you know what we found out during one of those bids? Electrical and plumbing was not included.
Oh,
So it
that's
was a
huge.
$40,000 bid, but without electrical and
Yeah,
plumbing.
you're missing 2 giant ticket items.
So great. You open up the wall, you create whatever you want, and then you're like, well, hey man, what about a couple plugs here? Oh, no, that's not included. That's going to be separate. I'm going to have to get an electrician to do that.
Yeah.
And now your $40,000 bid just skyrocketed
Yeah.
instead of you just knowing up front what it was going to be from
Yeah.
the beginning.
Yeah, no, I do think that that's a good idea. And I also say the other part of it is if you can get more than 3 bids, that's great. All the more extras that you can get.
Yeah.
There is going to be people who charge for bids. I charge to do a bid on a big project like that.
You should, because it takes a lot of time to do.
Yeah, it does. It does. To get an accurate bid takes a lot of time. But one of the biggest things is make sure you throw out your lowest bid.
Just
I mean,
toss it.
almost always just throw it out.
Yep.
A lot of people are really tempted to go with that really low bid, and I can tell you 9 times out of 10, that low bid is just going to lead to you losing money in the end.
Exactly.
Because that person underestimated, or they're just trying to get some money, some cash and flow to finish out other projects.
You know what's
that's
scary?
not going towards your
Usually
project.
that lowest bid wants like 50% up front.
Oh yeah, it's
Isn't that
usually
crazy?
50% up front and 50% later.
Anyway.
We got to jump to a break, guys, but we'll be back in a few minutes, and we'll be coming up on our last segment.
That's crazy.
So,
We'll be right back.
Hey realtors, I have a challenge for you. Walk into your broker's office and ask him to show you how to do a net listing, a wholesale investment transaction, or a subject to. I'm Alan Hernandez, broker of White Picket Realty, and my team and I have been doing these type of transactions for years. We can show you how to do the same and turn small deals into big checks. If you're interested in learning more, please contact join at teamwpr.com. JOIN at teamwpr.com.
Stop searching and start staying in the know with our Houston Real Estate Events page on Facebook. Follow us by searching at Houston Real Estate Events to stay up to date on the latest events for real estate in the Houston area. If you are interested in having your event on our page, please email me at david@whitepickettrealty.com. Again, that's david@whitepickettrealty.com. Non-paid events only. One more time, find us on Facebook at Houston Real Estate Events, and we'll see y'all at the next one. Hey Houston investors, do you have a couple deals under your belt, but now you're looking to scale in a more structured way? If so, then the House Flipping Network provides guidance to those looking to grow their real estate business. It's also a great way to mastermind with our experts and groups of like-minded investors just like yourself. If you're interested in more information, reach out to me, david@houseflippingnetwork.com. That's david@houseflippingnetwork.com. Hey everyone, this is David over at White Picket Realty, and I wanted to tell you about my friends over at Plans Express who can save you the headache of running your own permits. These guys are committed to offering a one-stop solution for all your plan and permit needs. They're proudly serving their friends and neighbors in the Houston surrounding areas, and they offer great service at an exceptional value. With dedicated professionals ready to serve, contact them today at 832-675-6217.
And we are back on the Realty Ruckus. Remember that you can always tweet us at Realty Ruckus. That's very simple, at Realty Ruckus. You can also text us at 24587. Just make sure and type RR before your text messages. And you can also find us on Facebook and YouTube. And since this is our last segment, you have very limited time left to do so.
I'm glad you mentioned the Twitter thing, because last time I totally screwed that up.
I believe you called it a twatter.
I called it twatter. It happens.
So, guys, let's talk about some of the events that are coming up. We also want to talk about other courses that we have and about our Houston events page. So, David, what events do we have coming up?
Well, some of the real estate and / investor events coming up for this month and next month. And sorry, guys, we have the maintenance crew outside, so sorry if it's a little bit loud. But we have Jet Linden coming up on September 21st. That's always the third Wednesday of every month at their new location, the Redneck Country Club, which apparently last time was a huge success. They had quite a few, quite a big crowd out there.
I saw the pictures, and they packed that place out. It looked pretty awesome. Yeah, that's a really good event to go to.
Another event we're going to actually be going more in depth here in a second with Alan and Hebron is the VA class with Richard Smith. That's going to be on the 28th of this month at the Allied Home Warranty offices. And that class is going to be a great class on how to vet, hire, and effectively use a VA, which we're going to be talking about more here in a second, what you can expect out of that class. Going into next month, October 11th, we have our White Picket Happy Hour. St. Arnold Brewery, come on out. We have over 200 real estate agents and investors usually show up. And near the end of the month, I know PLF and IRA, Quest IRA, they're going to be doing their October Halloween celebrations. I know PLF has some bowling in store for us, and Quest IRA has their Fright Night, so that's going to be pretty exciting.
So does NAREP. NAREP will be hosting a October happy hour. We're actually finalizing dates and times and locations this week, so as soon as I have all that information, I will be letting you guys know. That's going to be a pretty big event. We had 250 or 60 people show up to our first NAREP event last month, and it was a huge success. We expect about the same amount to show up this time, and it's going to be good, because all we're doing for this event is just hanging out and introducing ourselves and spending time with the board. If you guys haven't checked out the NAREP board, not to toot my own horn because I'm on the board as well, but everyone on that board, is just phenomenal and driving the Houston industry market. So I'm very proud to be on that board, and I'm very proud to associate myself with people that are doing so well in the business. Definitely check that out, and we'll bring you guys more information.
Yeah, and also regarding NAREP, we'll be attending the national conference. That's actually not this weekend, but next weekend.
White Picket is going to take L.A.
White Picket is taking a flight as a group to L.A. We're going to spend a week in L.A., right, including my assistant, Brandon. He's going to be flying with us. I did need help with, getting my coffee and stuff in the morning. So I was like, "Hey, man, you want to go?"
Oh God.
He wasn't happy about that. But he's going, and we're gonna have a great time. We're really excited because one, we're gonna get a chance to spend time, rub elbows, and pick the brains of people who are making multi-millions. There's two people on the national board that are making upwards of $80 million a year.
Whoa.
These are big money players. And the only reason I bring this up is because I want to share the fact that if you are just starting your business, if you're a new realtor or a new investor, and you say, "Hey, how do I grow from here?
How do I go to the next level?"
A lot of times it's just spending time with the right people. In fact, most of the time that's all it is.
Yeah, picking their brains. What are they doing?
It's just sitting down at the same table or standing next to them at the same bar and listening to what they're saying and understanding that they think just a little bit different than you.
Yeah, we'll be bringing you live broadcasts and live interviews from the NAREP event while we're there.
Yeah, that's our plan. The Realty Ruckus will be
that's
live
the plan.
interviews.
We're going to see what we can do about that. That's the plan.
Well, regardless, we'll be walking around and just shooting little footage and some live streams. So you'll want to make sure and check us out during that time.
Yeah, and if you guys want to actually look into that, it's pretty easy to find it. NAREP is NAHREP. If you type that into Google, just type in NAREP Convention. You'll see it come up September 17th through the 20th or 21st. It's a great idea for anyone in the real estate industry to go attend and really get a chance to rub elbows with some good
Yeah,
people.
and just because you're not Hispanic doesn't mean that you're not invited to NAREP events.
Yeah.
It's the National Association of Houston of
Of
Hispanic
Hispanic.
Real Estate Professionals,
Yeah.
but it's open to anybody.
It's open to anyone.
And guys, the people that are on the top of NAREP are some of the biggest people in real estate, period, whether
Yeah.
they're loan officers or realtors.
That's right.
So trust me, everyone can learn something regardless of who those people are.
Absolutely, which is why we're taking a trip out there.
Yeah.
And we're gonna make a big event out of it. I do want to talk a little bit about the VA class. I'm a little bit concerned about it, and I'll tell you why. I get a sign up almost every 5 minutes on that class.
Yeah.
I have a feeling this thing is gonna literally get filled up.
Well, I
super
believe
quick.
that we're already like 5 RSVPs from being overbooked.
Yeah.
And then once we get overbooked, we'll have to start making alternate arrangements for people. We may even have to schedule a second portion of that class.
We may do a second portion, and then I don't know. I do want to make sure that if you are interested in learning about how to grow your business, if you're trying to hire your first assistant, and maybe can't get a one to come into the office with you, VAs are the way to go. You can have them do pretty much anything that you can imagine, except go out there and show houses for you. But if you don't know where to get started, this is the class where we can show you how to do it.
Yeah, and we meet so many people, and that seems to be a very common question is, I'm ready to hire an assistant, but I don't know if I can really afford one.
Well, it's not just that. A lot of people can afford $3 to $4 an hour. It's not expensive relatively.
Well, that's what I'm saying, though. They can't afford an in-house assistant
Yeah.
at a full minimum wage.
Exactly.
But a VA you can hire for limited hours. You don't have to bring them on full-time.
That's right.
You don't even have to bring them on full part-time if you
Nope.
don't want to. You can hire them for just a portion of hours and save yourself a lot of money.
It could be on a task-based basis.
Oh, yeah.
So you could just create tasks, and they just bill you for the tasks that they do. It doesn't have to be part-time or full-time. It can be just what you need.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so it's very important for your business, if you really want to take it to the next level, to have one, maybe even two of these to help you accomplish some of the repetitive tasks that keep you from focusing on what are income-producing activities.
Yeah.
Activities, IPAs is what I call them. You guys hear me talk about that a lot, but that's one way to allow you to get to that point so that you don't have to sit there and type in the redundant, data entry stuff. You can have someone else do that. It's only a couple bucks an hour. It's not going to kill your pocketbook, but you can be focused on what makes you money, which is sitting in front of a buyer or a seller and closing a transaction.
Yeah, absolutely.
So make sure that you guys go on to Eventbrite.
Yeah, let me get in the.
David will post a link down below. If you guys are watching, you'll see our link below to actually join us for our class.
And like I said, that thing is pretty much already sold out. So if you can get on there and you can get a ticket before it sells out, you'll be a lucky one.
Yeah, and if not, you'll just have to catch us on the next one, and we'll
Yeah,
try to
we'll
do it
create
again.
a wait list for the next one so we can let people know as well.
Yeah, exactly. As far as the other events that we have coming up, you guys will find them on Eventbrite, especially our happy hours. You'll see that it's on there. So you definitely want to register for that. The happy hour doesn't have any agenda. It's just a networking event for you guys to rub elbows with other Houston real estate investors, other real estate agents who are in the industry that can help your business grow, and then all of the vendors who are there to support you to help you with growing your business.
Yeah, and one thing that I want to bring up for everybody is I get a lot of people who say, well, I just don't know what events to go to.
Yeah.
I'm looking for more events. I've gone on Meetup. I've gone to all the meetups. They're all sales pitches.
Yeah.
I've gone to...
They really are. I mean, a lot of these events that you go to,
Unfortunately, yes.
it's literally some giant sales pitch, and I just can't stand going to those.
Yeah, so we actually have a Facebook page called Houston Real Estate Events. Very
We
simple.
just started it up.
It's very straightforward, but the whole point behind that page is to bring you high quality events that are not going to be pitch fest, so you don't have to worry about going there and constantly being sold on something.
That's right.
And we screen the events first to make sure that they are free.
That's right.
So these are all non-paid events that are on there. It's all things that are related to real estate. So we're not posting on there like, come see me sell some barbecue
Or some
pits
or some MLM strategy or something.
we won't be signing you up for Ambit Energy or anything. This is just going to be a straight Houston real estate events.
That's right.
And
So,
all non-paid.
if you have an event that you want to share with the community, please let us know. You can go on there and request to post your event. We're happy to share any good quality events
Absolutely.
with all of our friends. And then if you just want to know what events are coming up, that's the page to check out. It's free to register. I think all you got to go in there is like the page, and then automatically you start receiving updates on what's happening in Houston, good events to go to, and where you should be going to grow your businesses and create some strategy. Why is it important to attend these events anyway? Like, we talk about doing all these events, and you know, a lot of our company marketing strategy is to host a lot of these events. But why is it important if you're a new real estate agent to even attend one?
Well, I mean, I think it always goes back to the old saying, your net worth is your network.
That's right.
I mean, it's not about what you know. You can be the smartest person out there and have read every single book and still be poor.
That's right.
I mean, just it doesn't make success to know everything. It makes success to get out there and start meeting people who are doing this and who are in the industry. And I think that's why it's so important, and a lot of people don't give it the value that it deserves.
It's about creating mutually beneficial relationships, in my opinion. And if you're not consistently going out there and finding ways to bring value to others and finding what value they can bring to you, then you're missing out on opportunities that are out there just waiting for you. So that's what we're providing with these events. Make sure you guys go out there and check it out. It's Houston Real Estate Events on Facebook.
Yes.
Check out the page, like it, start receiving info on it. Until next time, we're going to see you this Friday. I'll be here, so don't worry.
Second show in a row.
It won't be Curtis here. It'll be me. And guys, thank you so much again for joining us here at the Realty Ruckus out of the White Picket Realty Studios. We had a blast today. And again, thank you. We'll see you on Friday.
This has been the Realty Ruckus. Make sure and join us every Tuesday and Friday for new episodes. Find us on YouTube and Facebook for replays of previous episodes. And as always, keep elevating yourself and keep up your ruckus. Thanks for listening. Realty Ruckus has been brought to you by Smart Pig Media Productions.